In this video, we are going to talk about the concepts that are involved in the chapter Profit and Loss. This is one of the most important chapter and having the most weightage in the arithmetic section of Quant. Now, in this year, around 3 to 4 questions were directly applied. 3 to 4 questions had direct relations with this chapter. So this is one of the most important chapter, and the concepts that are involved in this chapter are quite a few. So if you learn the formulas and the concepts of this chapter clearly, you will be able to solve most of the questions very easily. So I will suggest that you never skip a question of this from this topic in the exams, as the difficulty level or the concepts that are involved are very easy. Even in the non-CAT exams, this topic is quite popular, and the questions more or less remain the same, or the concepts that are involved are the same. So once you know the basics or the concepts that are involved in this chapter, you're through with this topic. So let's start with the basic concepts that are involved in this. So let me draw a layout of this video. We will discuss the basic terminologies. Afterwards, we will discuss the common cases. Now, what are the common cases? Now, these are the cases, or these are the type of questions which we have categorized for you for your easiness, so that you can learn them and you can speed up the game. So these are the common cases, or these are the questions that are commonly appearing in the CAT and the non-CAT exams, and we will be directly giving you the shortcuts and the formulas involved in these cases, and we will solve some questions based on the concepts that we have learned, so that you can remember those concepts easily and for a longer period of time. Now let us discuss the basic terminologies that are involved in this chapter. So the first thing that comes into our mind while discussing profit and loss is the cost price, that is often termed as CP or cost price. Now this is the price at which the article is bought. So this is the price at which the article is bought. Now another thing, that is selling price. These are the common terms. Most of you will know these terms, but let us start from the scratch so that you will have a feel. Now, what is selling price? Selling price is the price at which the article is sold. So this is the price at which the article is sold. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now, as our topic suggests, it is profit and loss. So what is profit? Now profit is nothing but the difference between the selling price and the cost price is called the profit. Now this is the difference of selling price and cost price, provided that my selling price is more than the cost price. So in this scenario only, there will be a profitable transaction. Similarly, if I define loss, it is nothing but the difference of selling price and cost price. Now the definition remains the same, but in this case we know that our cost price is more than the selling price. Now let us look at this with an example. Suppose I bought a pen for 10 rupees. So the cost price of the pen was 10 rupees and the shopkeeper sold it to me at 11 rupees. So basically he got pen at 10 rupees and he sold it at a higher price. So in this scenario, selling price is more than the cost price. So there is a profit involved. So the formula for the profit is defined as this difference between the selling price minus the cost price, provided that my selling price is more than the cost price. Now, if the scenario is vice versa, now let us suppose that the shopkeeper purchased the pen at 10 rupees, but due to some circumstances or due to stock clearance or something like that, he sold the pen to me at 8 rupees. Now in this scenario, this is not applicable, but my cost price is greater than the selling price. So over here we take the difference between the selling price and the cost price, but as my cost price is more, the formula for loss is defined as CP minus SP, or we can define a loss making transaction as wherein this cost price is more than the selling price. Now moving on, there are some other terms involved. These are not direct terms that you will find in the questions, but let us discuss them anyways because they are related indirectly to few questions. Such terms are overhead charges. Now what is overhead charges? Now if an individual has to spend some money on the transportation or extra etc., the extra cost that is incurred, the extra cost is termed as overhead charges. Suppose I am ordering 10 packets of oil. Now if the shipment is heavy, so there will be labor cost that is involved for moving the oil packets from the godown to our tempo and from tempo to the shop. So these are the overhead or the transportation or extra cost which I am going to add in the transaction, or this is the extra charges that are going to get added in our cost price while solving the questions. Now another term that you might have heard is marked up price. Marked price for that matter. Now what is marked price? It is defined as the price on the label or the list price. So it is also known as label price or list price. I hope this is clear to you. Now one thing that you need to remember about marked price is that whenever a discount is given to anyone on any article, let us discuss what is discount first. All of you must be familiar with this term. Now if I have to define discount, it is the reduction made on the marked price of an article. Now this is the price reduction that occurs on that is made on labeled price. Now as I suggested that the importance of marked price or labeled price or list price for that matter, which are one and the same, is that the discount is calculated through the difference of the selling price and the marked price. If I have to get a relation for discount, or if I have to discuss the formula for discount, it is nothing but from the definition we can say that discount is equal to the list price minus the selling price. The price of the pen was 15 rupees, but the shopkeeper sold it to me for 12 rupees. So in this scenario, my discount is nothing but 15 minus 12, that is 3 rupees. So this is the difference between the list price and the selling price, that is our discount. List price is also known as label price or mark price. Remember this. Sometimes the terms involved in the question might confuse you. Now another thing that you need to remember is the markup price. What is markup? Now markup is defined as the difference between the cost of an article and its marked price. So this is the difference between the cost of article and its marked price. Now a markup is added onto the cost price or purchase price of the product of the trader in order to create a profit. I hope the concept of markup is clear to all of you. This is the difference between the cost price of the article and the marked price. Okay. Now moving on, let us discuss the basic formulas that are involved in the calculation. Now we have discussed two formulas earlier while defining the terms. That is, first one was profit. Profit is equal to selling price minus cost price whenever the selling price is greater than cost price. If I have to state the formula for loss, it is equal to cost price minus selling price whenever my cost price is greater than the selling price in a transaction. Now moving on, the third formula, and this formula is widely used in this topic. As we have discussed the percentage chapter earlier, the percentage profit is defined as the profit that is made divided by cost price. Always remember the base is cost price. This is an important thing to remember, and multiplying this entire fraction by 100, and loss percentage or percentage loss is defined as the loss that has occurred in a transaction. Again, the base is cost price. This is an important thing, multiplying this fraction by 100. Now if I substitute the formula for profit in this formula, or I substitute the value of loss in this formula, I can simplify or rewrite the above formula as SP minus CP upon CP multiplying by 100. This is my percentage profit. Now similarly, percentage loss is defined as CP minus SP upon CP multiplying this fraction by 100. I hope you are clear with the formulas that we have discussed right now. Now these formulas can be rewritten or reshuffled in another way also. Suppose I am given percentage profit and I have to calculate the quantity of profit that I have achieved. So profit is given as profit percent multiplying this by CP upon 100. And if I have to calculate loss, whenever I am given percentage loss, it is written as loss percentage multiplying this by 100. Sorry, this is not 100, this cost price upon 100 is going to give me the loss. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now one thing that you need to understand is we most probably do not use the percentage profit or for calculation of profit. These formulas, we make use of the term that is known as multiplication factor. Now moving on, we will discuss this term in detail as it is very helpful in solving most of the questions involved in this chapter. Okay, now let us discuss the formulas that are involved. Now the formula number 7 is, if I have to calculate my selling price when I am provided with the percentage profit, it is calculated as 100 plus, let us say that from now onwards I am going to write profit percentage as P percent and loss percent as L percent. So 100 plus profit percentage upon 100 multiplying this by cost price is going to give me my selling price. This is the formula that we use only in a profitable transaction. And suppose there is a loss making transaction, so in order to calculate my selling price, I am going to use the loss percentage, but I have to use a negative sign, because from the common sense, as we know that in a loss making transaction my selling price is going to be lesser than the cost price, so I have to subtract something from 100 and then multiply it by the cost price, or multiplying the cost price with a fraction that is lesser than 1. I hope this is clear. So this is nothing but the multiplication factor that I was going to discuss with you guys. Suppose I am given that in a transaction I am having 10% profit. So and my cost price in this situation is 10 rupees. So if I give you that my selling price is 11 rupees, calculate the profit percent, you can easily calculate it as my selling price is 11 rupees and I am given that my cost price is 10 rupees. My profit is nothing but 1 rupee. I am dividing it by cost price, that is 10, multiplying this by 100. This gives me my P percent. Up till now everything is clear to all of you. Now if I have to calculate my selling price and I am given with and I am provided with the profit percentage. Now, do I have the time to always use this formula? No. So what I'm trying to say is whenever there's a 10% profit, if I add or substitute 10% in this formula, I'm going to get it as 100 plus 10 upon 100 multiplying this by cost price, and this is going to be nothing but equal to 1.1. So the point that I'm trying to make is that 10% that is equal to 0.1 in decimal terms is added to 1. And in terms of loss, if I am given that there is a 10% of loss, I am directly going to subtract the decimal, that is 10% in terms of decimal is 0.1, and I am going to subtract it from 0.1. So my multiplication factor, so this is the term that I term as multiplication factor. Okay. In the percentage chapter, I have provided you with the reciprocals or the fractions term to percentages. So I hope you remember them. Suppose there is a 25% profit. So it is nothing but 0.25 and the multiplication factor is 1.25 and my selling price is going to be 1.25 multiplied by the cost price, and in terms of loss my selling price is going to be 0.75 cost price. If I am given that there is a 28% loss, it is nothing but 1 minus 0.28 or that is equal to 0.72 times my cost price is going to be equal to selling price. I hope the concept of multiplication factor is clear to all of you, because in solving the sums ahead I am going to use this concept time and again. So if you have any doubt or difficulty in this concept, please rewind the video and watch it again. Okay, now discussing the more formulas that are involved in this, I want you to know that I am giving you each and every formula, but if you look logically, there are only two formulas which I am reshuffling and using time and again, and the concept of multiplication factor. Now it's very nice if you remember all the formulas if you can apply it directly, but even if you forget one or two formulas, you can always solve profit and loss question logically using your common sense and concepts that we are discussing right now. Now if I have to find, I have given you the formulas for calculation of the cost price, selling price. Now the formulas involved for calculation of cost price are: cost price is nothing but selling price multiplied by 100 upon 100 plus P%. Now I am only reshuffling the terms and giving you the formulas over here. So even if you do not remember these formulas, it's perfectly alright. There's no harm done, but it's better if you remember, as it saves a lot of time. But you should avoid learning or mugging up the formulas if you are weak at them, because it's good to have a higher accuracy rather than saving the time. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now this is in terms of profitable transaction. In terms of a loss making transaction, it is going to be like this. I hope the concept is clear to all of you. Now we can arrive at this formulas by reshuffling. Now there's one more formula. This is an important one which we have discussed in the definition of markup as well. So cost price plus markup is equal to my mark price or least price or labeled price as discussed. Or this can also be defined as cost price plus percentage markup. This is also termed as percentage markup on CP is equal to my mark price. I hope this is clear. And again, the last formula that is used is for calculation of discount. Now we have discussed earlier that discount is always calculated on the mark price. So discount upon mark price multiplied by 100. This is my discount percentage. Now let me give you a triangle that is going to help you in deciding the basis that we take while solving the problems. Now let this be my mark price. Let this be my cost price. Let this be my selling price. Now as you all know that when I have a cost price of something and I am selling it at some point, so this is a transaction wherein there will be profit or loss. There in this, as we are defined as cost price plus markup is nothing but the markup. Whenever I am reducing my price or reducing my labeled price, mark price, there is always a discount. Now one thing that I want you to remember is the base of the arrow which I have drawn over here is used for the base. Over here is mark price, the base over here is cost price, base over here is cost price. So the base which I am using is going to be the base in the formula as well. Suppose I have to calculate discount percentage. So the formula is going to be like this: mark price, the start point from minus end point, minus selling price upon the base, that is mark price, is coined as discount percentage. Now if I have to calculate profit percent or loss percent, it is going to be the difference between CP minus SP, non-negative difference, but the base is always going to be the cost price. Now the catch that I want you to remember is that in all the formulas, selling price is never taken as the base, and there are actual CAT questions which involve the calculations wherein there are students, or in the question itself it is given that you have to calculate the profit percent or the loss percentage on selling price. We will deal with such questions where there is an error in calculation of profit percentage in our advanced questions, and you will get to know, you will solve that questions and you will get to know that concept as well. I want you to remember this triangle. Till then, this is very important. It will help you to clear the doubts that might arise while solving the problems, which term to take as the base while solving profit and loss questions. Now let us move on and solve actual questions related to profit and loss